It's time for Good Coverage, presented by Progressive. Marcus Jones returned a Joe Flacco pass 33 yards for a touchdown as the Patriots won their 9th straight game on Sunday. Jones joins Deion Sanders as the only players in the Super Bowl era with multiple pick sixes, multiple punt return touchdowns, and at least one receiving touchdown in their careers. And now to top all of that for Marcus Jones, he is joining us on the Insiders. Marcus, welcome to the show. That's Brian Baldinger. I am Judy Batista. First, I got to ask you, how do you feel accomplishing things in your career that put you in the company of somebody like Deion Sanders?
Yeah, first off, man, it means a lot. Just being drafted to the New England Patriots and, being part of this, this dynasty for a minute. And then, taking it one play at a time. I always pride myself in taking advantage of the opportunities that you get. And I learned that from a lot of mentors and teammates and things like that. So being able to be in elite company, it means a lot for sure.
Marcus, are you ever going to lose another game? I mean, your 9-game win streak, I feel like it's just a W. Like, you contribute, you give them the lead 14-10 there in the second quarter. Like, is the Patriots just going to win this whole thing? Is this going to be a walk right here, the way you guys are playing?
Our main thing every week is definitely to win, so that's something that we don't want to do is lose. But taking it 1 week at a time is very important. A lot of people look so far ahead, but we're focusing on the Giants this week, a great team, and just taking it 1 week at a time is the most important thing for sure.
Actually, take us behind the scenes a little bit, because you have won 9 in a row. Obviously, Mike Vrabel is going to be a leading Coach of the Year candidate. Tell us what he has been doing that has made this turnaround for this team possible.
Yeah, Vrabes, every time that we walk up in the building, the standard is the standard. And he said that ever since whenever it came down to OTAs and training camp, and us leaders, captains of the team, we have to play our best in order for us to win. So that's very important. But going in, day out, competing with the offense and defense, competing with the offense as well, special teams, having all 3 phases is very important in the National Football League, because, you can't get too high and you definitely can't get too low. So you got to make sure you stay positive and then correct whatever needs to be corrected and then take it from there.
Marcus, one of the things, I was getting ready for your game a couple weeks ago against Tampa, and I was studying your games, and one of the things that just jumps out between you, Christian Gonzalez, and Carlton Davis is how well you guys tackle in the open field. And I know it's something you take a great deal of pride in, obviously, being a slot defender for most of the time. But is it anything that you guys do to work on so that you take guys down the open field? You're not seeing missed tackles like we see across the league and other teams.
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of people talk about, cornerbacks, and, they'd be like, they don't like to tackle. But us 3, man, we take pride in every play that we can make to help the defense out, whether it's, tackling. Most of the time, we're covering and everything like that. But in the National Football League, people love to make the corners tackle, and we don't have a problem doing it at all.
All right, you mentioned joining a franchise that had been a dynasty. What would it mean to this current group of Patriots to bring the playoffs back to New England?
It would mean a lot. Our fan base, man, I love them, especially on the defensive side. They make it hard for opposing teams. So being able to, bring that back to Foxborough and having a home field advantage would mean a lot for sure.
Marcus, it seems like, obviously to get to where you're at right now this year, you look at the additions of Milton, of Harold Landry, of Spillane, the guys that they brought in. It seemed like between what Mike did and how he coaches and how he holds everybody accountable, the fact that you guys were able to come together so quickly, like it feels like there's just nothing but glue, the way the type of guys that they brought in that really fit in with the culture that Mike really wants to develop.
Yeah, I would say, first off, it was a lot of new faces in the building. So when it came down to it, Vrabes, he told us the standard and what we have to end up living by, and staying with that standard, like I said from the beginning. But, we got to know a lot of people's history, the coaches that ended up coming in, and the players as well. We learned how they got into the game of football, what they're doing outside of football, and knowing those hobbies and everything that everyone else does, it ends up making us want to play harder for them whenever we get onto the field, knowing that, a teammate has a newborn child, or, knowing that their family is away and, they're far away from their loved ones and everything. It makes us as teammates, want to play harder for the person next to us.
All right, Marcus, it is My Cause, My Cleats time in the NFL, and you have some very cool-looking cleats. You are supporting the Covered by Music Foundation. Look at this with the musical notes. Those are so cool-looking. Tell us about that organization and the work they do and why you decided to throw your support behind them.
Yeah, we help underlooked and overlooked kids in the Boston community. What we try to do is help them with the situation of whether they want to be songwriters, engineering, producers, anything around that realm. We want to bring all the artistry that they have and help them bring it to light. Anything that they need help with, whether it's, jobs later on, we have connections when it comes to that. But the main thing is collabing with people, because whenever you get into the real world, we want these kids to understand the importance of teamwork and then building, and then also getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. Sometimes being in a new room and not knowing exactly everything that's going on and not knowing the people in the room can be intimidating to them. So what we try to do is ease it and ease their mind and let them have fun with stuff that they love to do, and then build with people that's also in the community with them. So I'm happy to end up putting smiles on the kids' faces, and we're looking forward to, making it bigger.
Great initiative. Marcus, thank you so much for taking time out to join the Insiders. Lots of luck the rest of the way.
For sure. Appreciate you guys.